focus, and I want focus, and I want focus.
Martin Stamp might look like a teacher.
Oh, stop it.
But he's actually a public school educated multi-millionaire and owns his own computer company. He's going to look for people to help in Hull, a city with some of the highest truancy rates in the country.
Do you like to go to school?
Not bothered.
I mean, isn't that terribly boring?
No, I've got a PS3 at my house.
I don't think I can remotely understand the problems that these kids are really facing. But I hope I'll find some inspiring people who do understand it and they can do something about it.
He'll experience firsthand how hard it is to keep wayward kids engaged with education.
We're going to move on to Fibonacci series, right?
Say that again, Martin, please.
Okay.
And meet the people who tirelessly give their time to help keep kids on track.
We're saying to these kids, look, whatever background you're from, you know, where father hasn't had a job, that does not mean to say that you can sit on your backside and accept that as the norm, because it isn't.
It's horrible to say, but I'd either mean dead or badly on drugs.
He'll make some new friends along the way.
Do you like Bob Dylan?
Positively 4th Street.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
And at the end of his stay, he'll give away tens of thousands of pounds of his own money as he reveals he's a secret millionaire.
This has very much fleshed out my sort of understanding of this parallel society that is developing in the UK. And that is not a happy situation, really. Hi. Have we finished the VAT?
Yes, we have indeed, yes.
57-year-old Cambridge graduate Martin Stamp has made a fortune running his own computer company.
We are competing with the likes of Bloomberg's, Reuters Thompson, some very big companies who would love our market. And we roll it over every month, don't we?
Happily married with a grown-up son, Martin leads a comfortable life in London. But life hasn't always been this rosy.
This is me at public school. I'm there right at the centre at the bottom, looking distinctly uncomfortable, I might say.
For privately educated Martin, school was a particularly unhappy time.
I hated it, I loathed it. I was teased, and it made me alienated, introverted, quiet.
Martin also struggled with the rigid discipline at his public school.
The whole ethos was absolutely, you do what you're told, you don't answer back. If you are bullshit by look, by glance, anything, you'll get punished for that. And people who did rebel in that sort of way were squashed. And in the end, of course, you'd be expelled.
And Martin was expelled when he was 17. Free-thinking and keen to broaden his horizons, he set off to explore the world for himself.
This is a trip I made to Findhorn. I spent a week there with a bunch of hippies. I felt comfortable with these people in a way that I didn't with my work environment. This is from my first trip to India when I was working for UNICEF. We were feeding between 50 and 60,000 women and children on a daily basis. In the 1971 census, I'm classified as a roadster. This is a classification given to me by the police when they picked me up, as I was sleeping rough that night.
But Martin did give education a second chance and went on to get a maths degree from Cambridge.
Education is incredibly important, and I'm personally very, very interested in getting more kids to reach their potential.
So he's leaving his family in London and going undercover for 9 days.
Oh my God. Hi. I don't know where I'm going, but I hope you do.
He's travelling up to Hull, where he'll meet and be introduced to people who might need his help.
It's the end of the line. You don't go there to go anywhere else. You go there to go to Hull. It's scary going to a place you don't know and meeting people who don't know me, I don't know them. Are we going to establish some sort of emotional link? Are we going to get to like and respect each other, I suppose? That is not a given.
Hull ranks as the worst authority in the country when it comes to education. Many schools here sit at the bottom of the league tables, and average GCSE results are amongst the worst in the country.
Okay, cheers then. Thanks.
Martin will tell people he meets he's making a documentary about education and that he's volunteering as a teaching assistant, or TA, in a local school.
Where are you from?
I live in London, but I've just come here to do some teaching at a local school. Are you from Hull itself?
Yeah, I was brought up right in the heart of the fishing industry, and that was when Hull was booming. We were all fed on fish and chips because they were cheap. That was the good old days.
What do you think the kids want to do here?
I would say their aspirations of life are pretty low. You don't get kids coming out of Hull itself who are going to live the good life, if you see what I mean. There you go, we're arrived.
Whilst in Hull, Martin will be living on Orchard Park, one of the city's roughest estates, notorious for its high crime rates.
Is this it? Oh yes, this is 27. Boarded up, well, fine. Yes, well. What do we have here? Yep, 2 smashed windows. It's a bit alarming. Somebody broke in. Certain smell. I feel it hasn't been lived in for a while. I've got a kettle, a cooker. I'm sure I won't use it, whatever it is. Can't say I thought I was going to be doing this when I left home today. What does it say about the neighbourhood, I wonder? I naturally would prefer to keep to myself. I mean, that's my natural instinct. I certainly feel that my coat says rather a London sort of a coat. I think it will fairly quickly identify me as a newcomer, as an outsider. But then, you know, I'd like to meet people. So, you know, if they know that I'm an outsider and I'm new, maybe it'll encourage some of them at least to talk to me. Hi, do you want to say hello?
No, thanks.
You're busy, okay. See you. Hi, guys. Hi, have you got a minute to talk to me?
Oh, do we have to?
You don't have to, no. I've just come down here and I'm staying here for a few days. One of the things I'm interested in is the education. In terms
I've left school now.
You've left school?
Yeah, I didn't used to go. I went maybe once a week.
Right.
Just didn't like it. I just don't like people telling me what to do. So I find it quite hard.
Yeah, in life it happens a lot.
I know, yeah. I wish I did stay out of school there, because now it's not good for me at all, coming out with no qualifications and nothing.
Well, what do people your age get up to? I mean, is there a youth centre or something, anything like
that? On the streets, drinking, smoking, causing trouble.
Disaffected, bored youth. They don't really know what the hell they're doing. They don't know what the hell they want to do. They have a pretty clear idea probably what they don't want to do. It's a shame. All that energy and potential is going to waste. I think to have real solid self-respect, you probably need to have a job. Most people. I mean, what the fuck was that? There was a bang. There shouldn't be a bang. Noises. 4 o'clock in the morning, and the 3 kids outside playing football. Didn't hear any broken glass or anything, so I suspect they were just arsing around at 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, yeah. Yesterday I felt a little out of place in my blue coat. It feels like a city coat. And I'm going to go back to my black jacket, which I feel more comfortable, and in fact I wear more when I'm in London anyway.
Ex-public schoolboy Martin Stamp is in Hull looking for projects to motivate disaffected youth.
I'm off to the Ashwell Centre where I'm going to be a teaching assistant. You know, it might be something that would be worth funding. This is a state school. I was privately educated. You know, will they think, you know, he had it so easy, he had it this, he had it that, which I would kind of understand if they did.
The Ashwell Centre is a pupil referral unit, working to get 11 to 14-year-olds who've been excluded from school back into mainstream education. Kids are mainly sent here because of disruptive behaviour at school, a world away from what led Martin to be expelled.
I started subscribing to underground magazines like International Times and Oz, and that went down very badly. And reading Allen Ginsberg, that was considered as pornography. They said I had to stop discussing my ideas with my fellow students, and in the end, I was chucked out.
Hi.
Debbie, very nice to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm one of the senior support assistants here, and I'll actually take you around and let you know what we're doing today. We keep all of the doors locked along the corridors because obviously it helps to sort of keep the pupils safe. Right. And if we do have any incidents, then obviously it's easier to contain it in one area as opposed to...
Debbie's been working at the Ashwell Centre for 7 years. To give Cambridge graduate Martin an idea of how difficult it is to work with these kids, she's asked him to teach a maths class.
Well, as you see, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Well, I'm nervous. I mean, it's only 4 kids for half an hour. Hopefully, it will be a more fun lesson than average. But, I just hope it doesn't go right over their heads.
Martin's faced with his first hurdle when only one pupil turns up to his class.
As a sort of member of staff, you would try and engage him in the lesson.
What, when he's at the class, if you see what I mean?
Yeah, the TA would sort of work with him and try and get him to come in.
Right.
So you could maybe go to the door because the rest of your group hasn't come in and try and engage him.
Right.
And then we'll sit down.
There's nothing hard. We're going to play a game called Spot the Spot, and we're going to look at shapes and do something called the Fibonacci series. Okay, you up for that?
Maths is boring.
Now, I'll tell you what, I'll promise not to throw a tantrum if you decide you're bored in the middle and walk out. Does that be okay? I'm going to ask 3 things from you guys, okay? I want focus, and I want focus, and I want focus, and that's you as well, okay? We're going to move on to Fibonacci series, right? And to get the next number, you just add those 2 numbers together. 2 plus 3.
5.
5 plus 8.
11. 12. 13.
Now, what I want to do is I want to convert the ratio of each number to the number before.
Say that again, Martin, please.
Okay.
Pack it in something.
No, this ratio, it comes up in nature a lot. And it, can you just pay attention? So what I'd like you to do is to draw a perfect rectangle.
What was that?
The perfect ratio, 1.618. Okay, thank you very much, guys. It's been a great pleasure. You're being good students.
Marvellous.
Was that okay from your point of view?
If I'm truthful,
Yeah.
I thought it was way too advanced for them. I think the boys were being extremely well behaved because of the situation that they were in. They had no idea why they were doing it or what ratios were, and the theory that you was using. Yeah. They didn't have a clue. Michael!
It was jolly hard to keep 3 kids focused. I think if even with practice, I think I'd find it hard to keep those 3 kids actually focused. It was harder than I expected. I wasn't able to use some more advanced material that I had hoped to use. I don't think they really got the point of the golden ratio. What makes you angry? Is that it?
That makes me angry.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, naughty.
A high proportion of these children come from difficult backgrounds, and having worked here for 7 years, Debbie realises the importance of what the Ashwell Centre gives them.
Hopefully it's like a safe haven for them, isn't it? They can come here, feel safe, secure, they know that, the people here are working with them. It's about getting them to try and realise that there is something out there for them, that they are worthy of an education. Some of them will come in here and they will recognise straight away that, maybe that wasn't the way to have behaved. But I think it's like I said earlier, a lot of the stuff that we try and do here is get the kids to take the responsibility.
With 1 in 10 kids in Hull on the persistent truancy list, school for children here doesn't seem to be much of a priority.
Hi. You're at school?
No.
No? How come?
Not got a role anywhere.
Do you like to go to school?
Not bothered.
I mean, isn't that terribly, terribly boring. I mean, it's fun for a while watching daytime television, and then it gets really boring, doesn't it? I don't know.
No, I've got a PS3 at my house, so I'm not bothered.
Is that the alternative, is it? God almighty. Okay, well, nice talking to you guys. Take care. In my day, it was just unthinkable anyone would leave school or bunk off or anything like that, and the teachers would be onto it, and it would be dealt with at the highest possible level, and it just wouldn't happen. Bored. One sense is people are very passive here, but for the most part, it seems to be waiting for things to be done for them, and life is not always like that. Sometimes you have to pick up and go places or change your lifestyle in order for good things to happen to you. This is going to be my improvised walk. There does seem to be a problem with the kids not being as fully involved in society, which of course is exactly what I was when I was that age. But I was dealt a pretty good set of cards in life, that however much I whinge about my education, it was an education. So what I'm looking for is something that will enthuse those kids. We're going to go and look for a shop newsagent just to find out what's happening locally, if there's any announcements or any organisations they're talking about. I just have that, please. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you. Ta.
Having heard about a project in the city centre, Martin decides to pay it a visit.
I've heard that the Warren helps people after they have left education. And is trying to re-engage them. So people from the Ashwell Centre, perhaps, what happens to them next. Hiya, sorry, excuse me.
Whereas the Ashwell Centre aims to get kids back into school, the Warren is a youth project targeting older kids who've dropped out of education altogether. Building on their interests through a series of activities and workshops, it aims to get youngsters off the streets and into jobs. To see how he could help, Martin's arranged to volunteer in the Warren's cafe.
Hi, Paul. I think I'm going to help you today.
Yes, fantastic, that'd be very good.
Can you show me what to do?
Yeah, main roles for a worker is we all do a session of contact, which is where you're in the cafe and you're the first point of contact for any young person who comes through.
So is this reception stroke, tea, coffee?
Yeah, we've got a boiler for hot water and there's tea and coffee and sugar and milk.
Hi, I'm Martin.
Martin's starting to learn the ropes a bit.
Can I make you a tea or coffee?
I'll have a tea, please.
Tea, how'd you take your tea?
Are you making teas and coffees?
I am, yeah. Would you like one? I'm going to get a cue. I like this. You have Assam and English breakfast. 2 sugars, not too milky, coming up. So how's my tea? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Done okay?
It's good, isn't it?
All right.
21-year-old Mandy has been coming to the Warren for 5 years.
Basically, people come in here, meet up with other friends, make new friends, have something to eat, have a drink, and it keeps everyone off the streets.
And it really works, does it? Yeah.
People have got a lot of qualifications from here, like their English and maths.
Yeah. Well, what's your background? Did you have a hard time at school?
Primary school was okay, but secondary school I didn't really bother with it.
What do you think would have happened to you without the Warren?
Without the Warren, I don't know, because I got into drugs and everything before I got to know the Warren.
Yeah.
So I think I'd have been, horrible to say, but I'd have either been dead or badly on drugs or drink.
The 5 best things about the Warren: the community, the staff, the resources, the entertainment. Like pantos, they'll do like Christmas pantos and stuff like that.
Sorry, this is theatre, is it?
Yeah,
They do a bit of theatre?
Yeah.
And you're looking for work here? They help you look for work?
Yeah.
How do they do that? I haven't seen that part of it.
Basically, access to the internet, and like you can type up CVs, and Shane in there will.
Does someone helps you do that? The referral centre, the kids were down basically, and every now and then they'd explode, and they'd be up, but it'd all be very fragile in a sense. But here, people are energy, and they're playing the lad and bouncing off each other, and they seem to have a lot of energy.
The one upstairs.
Upstairs, the Warren has a recording studio where young musicians can come and record their own music for free.
This is a huge complex, isn't it?
It is a really enormous building, and we do use every bit of the space. So
right. Oh right. So that's music going on there. That's not what we're going to see, is it?
No, that's the rehearsal room.
Right.
And the main studio is in Hello.
Hiya.
Hiya, you alright?
Hi.
Oh, that sounds very Indian-y.
26-year-old Jodie and Keith, who's 25, are singer-songwriters with high ambitions, and the Warren is helping them to record and promote their music.
Go in there if you want to get the headphones on, we'll see if it's all working. It should be open in there. Right, this is where the magic happens.
I get up, I feel down, so I go for a night on the town. The next morning when the sun is dawning, up the stairs I creep.
I told my dad I wanted to be a writer. I'd been at KFC, I think, at the time, about 6 years, something
That's
like
where
that.
you're working, yeah?
Yeah.
KFC, yeah.
But I'd been there just sort of like mucking about, having a laugh. And my dad said to me, why don't you need to think about your career and stuff. I said, well, I want to be a writer. So he went, yeah. What about plumbing? What about being a plumber? So I went, I don't want to be a plumber.
Did you enjoy English at school?
So I liked it, and I'd take in bits like what they teach me about like poetry and stuff and la-di-da. I used to like learning about that, but I dare say like you wouldn't because you'd get beat up.
School wasn't a really good time for me, to be honest. So like Keith, I also played truant a bit. I didn't exactly do all my work.
There's a kind of sense that I've got that a lot of the kids at school are all, I don't know what I want to do, and they essentially have no ambition. But as soon as they get into their 20s, everyone seems to say, hey, now I understand the point. And it's a bit, and it's kind of late and you can't go back.
In this country, we get pressured by, it's an horrible thing to say, you get pressured by your parents, you get pressured into society to do this, to get a job, to go to school, do you know what I mean? And I think that often puts people off. I think people are very rebellious to a degree, and people just think, no, if you're being told to do something too much, do you know what I mean? They don't want to do it.
So without the Warren, what do you think you'll be up to right now?
Be smashed, I reckon, and would be. That's what I did. I just had loads of parties, just go out every night partying, and just try to do my day job. I don't want nothing else to do.
Well, I definitely wouldn't have had half the help that I have had, from the Warren. It's done an ace job for me, to be honest. It's a good place.
This means I get to do something creative and use my brain.
In this last year, more than anything, I've just got a name for myself in Hull, which is good.
Hull, next step, the universe,
Well, I was thinking Leeds. But maybe, yeah.
You live fast, you die young, but to do the things that I've done.
I think they're remarkably articulate and smart young men. They've got a real talent. I do see something of my younger self in them. I could call it rebelliousness. I didn't re-enter full-time education until I was 21. So I can understand why people who get frustrated by the system drop out. And to give them a hand climbing back onto the ladder of education and getting back into regular employment is really important. Hiya, I'll have a large haddock and chips and some peas too, please. Did Hull win? They drew. Well, that could have been worse.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Have a good evening. Bye, everyone.
Halfway through his time in Hull, and Martin's struggling to see how he can make a difference.
I don't think I can remotely understand the problems that the kids and the parents are really facing. Among some of the people I've come across, there appears to be a complete lack of motivation. I do believe that you cannot help people until they're ready to be helped. On the other hand, this is my community, and there are difficulties in my community. There are stresses and strains, and I've got to weigh that up, as well in my head. Hi, have you got internet here? Oh, it's over there. Okay, great. Thanks very much. Cheers then.
With only a few more days left in Hull, 57-year-old Martin Stamp wants to find other projects which he might be able to support.
I found a kids' university which is aimed at 7 to 17 and trying to inspire them with a love of learning, which is exactly what I would like to assist. No, it sounds brilliant.
To find out more, Martin arranges to volunteer with the project.
I'm going to see the Children's University in a primary school. It sounds like they've got big aspirations. I'm really curious to see how it actually works on the ground.
The Children's University aims to keep young people engaged with school, so they don't end up in pupil referral units like the Ashwell Centre.
So when we get on the bus this afternoon...
John Buttrick founded the university to make learning fun and hopes to keep kids focused by organising trips and activities out of the classroom.
Can I come and sit here? Yeah? Great, thank you very much.
As a volunteer, Martin will be helping John look after the children on a trip to the city docks.
And I wondered, do you think they repair boats here at all? Do they have a dry dock where they fix boats up? I don't know.
Look, he's found his dad's ship. How cool is that? Does he actually travel on the ship? Does he?
Yeah, to Amsterdam.
Oh wow, what a good job that is.
Having worked as a deputy head in one of Hull's schools, John's experienced firsthand the high levels of kids dropping out of education. So he put his career on hold to set up his own charity.
Fantastic. What we're saying, Martin, is that to these kids, look, whatever background you're from, whatever your history is, where granddad hasn't had a job, father hasn't had a job, that does not mean to say that you can sit on your backside and accept that as the norm, because it isn't.
How about that? Whoops. You good?
This one's actually tied up because it's under arrest. They didn't pay a bill. You can work on the ferry. You could be a docker on the ferry, or you could work in the bar.
If you were working on the docks, what sort of job would you like to do?
Like person that does the microphone or dad.
Oh, you'd like to be on the reception and do the microphone and make the announcements. What would you like to do?
Be a captain.
That's a real ambition. I mean, yeah, hurrah! Yes, go for it.
Trips like these are expensive to run, and John relies on the goodwill of volunteers to make them possible.
Do the schools pay for this service?
We were providing the Children's University's activities free of charge to schools, and in 2007, 2008, the amount of funding and backing from the council dissipated, so in some respects we're starting again. Funding is an issue. We do not have long-term sustainable funding.
Right. It is trying to deal with the broader child, the broader education, which I totally believe in, that qualifications are important, but they're not the only thing that's important.
Whereas the Children's University is working to keep children in school, the Ashwell Centre, a pupil referral unit, has a 90% success rate with getting excluded kids back into mainstream education. Martin is going back there for another shift as a volunteer teaching assistant, or TA.
Hi, Molly, how are you doing? Good to see you again. Hiya, how are you?
Alright.
Good. Up for another day?
Yeah.
Yeah?
What do you want, love?
All right.
Can I have a milk and biscuits, please?
I suspect that the Ashwell Centre is government funded and quite well funded, but I'm interested to make sure that is the case.
How are you going to do that, Bill? How are you going to knock me out? How are you going to knock me out? Oh, yeah. You and who else?
Hi guys, I hear you're Mark. I'm Martin.
Martin's going to be your TA today, Mark, so he's going to sit and help you, okay?
Who's not heard of Jaws? Everyone's heard of it.
So select the line that you think is most effective in describing the attack on the swimmer.
Grabbing fingers had found they no.
Now that's what happened as a result of the attack.
1 out of 3 kids arrives at the Ashwell Centre with a reading age of under 9, and the staff's job is to bolster their confidence.
I think your spelling's really good. When I was your age, I don't think I could spell that well. And a lot of these words in here are really quite difficult. Sometimes you come here for part of the week and go to a regular school. No? You just stay at home.
Yeah, just twag sometimes.
Could you tell me what twag is?
Where you don't go to school and you just mess about outside.
Do you prefer lessons or you prefer twag?
Twag.
When I was 11, my school reports talked about nightmare spelling. I was such a poor reader. They set me to read in the conservatory just next door to the class to myself. What use this was meant to be, I don't know, other than the fact that I was sat there with all my fellow students being able to look at me in humiliation. And I decided that I was different to other people, and the reason I was different is that I was stupid. Yeah, that's what the blood goes through.
Bad behaviour is commonplace at the Ashwell Centre, and the staff are skilled at dealing with it.
Can't be bothered to wait.
Can't be bothered to wait. Oh, can't be bothered to wait for Rye?
Muscleators.
Why?
Does my head in.
Unfortunately, it does take a couple of minutes, Rye, to get everything sorted, to finish the lesson off and move on. So can you not just wait out here patiently? Or you could go to your next lesson, you're only going across the corridor.
Don't like that lesson. Shit.
No, we don't do that in PDP, right? Last week, that piece of work that you did, what did I say to you? Yeah, you can. Yes, you can.
It was fantastic.
Fantastic. So you don't think that about the lesson, really? And I would imagine...
Can I see the work? Is that...
No, where is it, miss?
It's be in PDP room, won't it? It'll be in your red folder.
Yeah. That's about forced marriages. That sounds very interesting. This is a plan of a survey.
Yeah.
How would you answer this survey? Well, how old are you?
Me, 12.
12. Male or female?
Male.
Right, give it a whack. Do you work?
No.
Yes, you do?
Yeah.
And what magazines do you do?
Like Nuts and that.
Okay.
With his thoughts turning to how he could help, Martin wants to find out about the school's funding.
The union is obviously doing a lot of good stuff, but are there more things that could be done that for whatever reason you can't do at the moment?
We're always looking at, different ways of improving what we do. I mean, as staff, we undergo lots of various training. With regards to extra provisions for the pupils, I think we're pretty much on the ball with it, really.
Yeah.
I think there's a hell of a lot here that we offer at Ashwell that doesn't necessarily get offered if they were elsewhere.
Debbie's a great person. I mean, she's really dedicated and she's got great spirit, and she really can communicate with the kids. It is better if kids can make it in mainstream, but there are kids who obviously do need to have a time out, as it were, and come here, and they do a fantastic job. But they are government funded and quite well funded. Whether or not any extra money that came from me would actually make any significant difference, I'm not entirely sure.
Still undecided as to who to give his money to, Martin wants to find out more about what drives the people behind the organisations.
I'm off to see John from Children's University. I was very impressed with what they're doing, but I was more impressed really with him, his energy. How does he keep motivated when so many of the other people aren't really energetic like he is?
Today, the Children's University is running a session all about keeping fit, so John's arranged a trip to the local gym, and Martin's going along to help out.
And change our legs, do we? Yep, okay, excellent.
The more you do it, the less it hurts.
Can you feel it pulling your abdominals as you're going up and down?
Alistair Brown is the headmaster of the school that John is helping today.
What would you say are the benefits for the kids that are sort of beyond what a normal school can offer?
For a number of children, this sort of environment might be something that they wouldn't normally come across, certainly in the school there. Whilst we can do an awful lot in school, it's never quite the same as coming out. But if we are educating the whole child and we can see sort of beyond exam results, then it has to be the right thing to do.
No, I was impressed. The energy, the focus. John is exactly what I'm looking for in terms of energy. He's a very inspirational guy. Something I've been saying to a number of the kids is, life is actually too short. You should grab it with both hands.
Absolutely. For example, my daughter, 3 weeks ago, she's coming to tell me she'd like to study law at university. Now she's telling me she'd like to do hairdressing, and my response is, look, you go and do whatever you want to do, girl. You've got my support. As long as you're happy, as long as you're going out every morning with a smile on your face, I will support you, whatever you want to do.
There must be a lot of times when you feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall. It can't all be easy.
To be totally honest, my inner drive comes from the fact that, I lost my son who died of a heart attack at the age of 13, and I was devastated for a while, but it makes me sad, it makes me angry when I see kids wasting their lives, because I do believe that whatever background you're from, while you've got a pumping heart, then you can achieve, and that is payback for me to these kids.
It's a very big deal when you have children. Just to have that suddenly taken away from you is devastating. I have no idea how I would react. I don't really even want to go there, but it seems to me he just rolls up his sleeves and gets on with it. I think he's just really, really trying to turn a negative into a positive.
It's Martin's last night in Hull. Keith and Jodie, the singer-songwriters he met at the Warren Youth Club, have invited him round.
Jodie, hi,
Hello
good
there.
to see you.
Welcome.
Good to see
Neither
you.
Keith nor Jodie did well at school, and they both left at 16. But now, with the help of the Warren, they're pursuing their passion for music.
Do you like Bob Dylan?
I love Bob Dylan.
You do like Bob Dylan?
What's one of your favourite Bob Dylan songs?
Positively 4th Street.
Yeah, mate, yeah.
Are there other artists you like?
The Beatles, Oasis, but there's tons about Johnny Cash, Buddy Holly. I used to think, like nowadays, it's sort of got lost and all music's sort of about, oh, I'm going to kill you, cut your throat and all this. Whereas in the 60s with Dylan and the Beatles, it was all sort of about peace and love.
Lord, I'm walking down the line. Lord, I'm walking down the line. Lord, I'm walking down the line. My fate will be flying. I'll tell you about my troubled mind.
I've been writing since being about 16. I sort of wrote on the back of envelopes, kitchen roll and it's a cardboard. It's all like sort of poetry, songs, and you tell people, oh, I want to be a writer and stuff, and it's like sort of laughed at, but it's sort of given me a bit more confidence now, like doing it like live and stuff, and it's just really, I pinch myself because I can't believe it's really happening. I get to go into a studio and record something. Not a lot of people get to do, so it's really lucky to be a part of it.
Well, what I'm impressed by is that you know you're doing it. You might be successful, you might not be successful.
Exactly, that's the
but
point.
you'll carry on doing it regardless.
Carry on doing it anyway.
I think success, everyone thinks success is about money and about earning money and being loaded and you're successful, but success is surely about having, I don't know, just being happy. And I feel very successful, to be honest.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I think you are successful.
The moonlight hits the hips of all the loved ones dancing outside the restaurant.
I enjoyed talking to Jodie and Keith, and it was a lot easier than I would have expected. You know, they look cool. They've got great hair and things like that. And you know, I would be actually intimidated if I ran into them in some other environment. You know, they didn't pigeonhole me, I suppose, is one of the things I've really got from them. And that we have some very common bonds, Bob Dylan being the most obvious.
Group hug. Well, thank you. Cheers. Is it a group hug?
Group hug.
It's all three of us, isn't it?
Yeah, go.
Nice to meet you, mate.
Yeah,
Nice
you
to meet
too.
you, mate.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Tomorrow, Martin will be giving away tens of thousands of pounds. But this evening, he has some tough decisions to make.
I really don't want to go for a project because it'll make me feel good. You know, just I like the people. You know, let's give them some money. It's got to be because I really believe in the project. I'm trying to actually create, you know, some sort of change, some sort of impetus for good. I don't think if I was born into this environment that I would, you know, there's every chance I wouldn't develop very far. My ambitions wouldn't be very high. So in that sense, I think I'm a lot more understanding.
Today is Martin's last day in Hull, and he's had some difficult choices to make about who to give his money to.
I do feel bad that there are people who I'm not giving money to, and the individuals I've got to know a bit are brilliant and they're doing great work and the projects are great, but I've always been determined that You know, I can't just give because I like somebody. It's got to be because I really believe in the project. I'm not trying to make myself feel good or make other people feel good. I'm trying to actually create, you know, some sort of change, some sort of impetus for good. I really think they're going to like that. Let's hope so. I'm nervous and excited by this one, but I still don't really know how they're going to react. Hi, Jodie. I'm really glad I've found you in. I just wanted to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So, can I come in and chat?
Definitely,
chat to you?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Hello and goodbye. Right, folks.
I've really enjoyed your music. I think it's really magic.
Well, not our music, but we enjoyed your company.
We enjoyed all of this.
Yeah.
Well, as a small token of our mutual love of Bob Dylan, I've got a present for you.
Oh, what?
I've seen that in,
nice one, mate.
Yeah?
Oh, thank you very much.
Very good.
Cheers,
Yeah.
mate. That's great.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Oh, it was Veg
Yeah,
Trees,
well,
though. That's
you
good,
know,
that.
Jodie and Keith, hope you enjoy Bob's live show in London. Martin.
I have arranged for you guys to come down to London to see Bob live.
Really?
I have organised that, yeah.
Fantastic,
In a couple of
mate.
months, Bob Dylan is going to be in London.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
what?
very much.
I
You
feel
really
like
have.
bugging
I
you,
really
so
have, yes.
Yeah, mate, me too, actually. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Martin, thank you very much, mate. I
You know,
appreciate that. That's great, man.
That'll be
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic.
Right.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you
That
very
is
much.
great. Honestly, that's the best present I've ever had.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the Warren, you know, because it's been a really good place for you guys to hang out, to meet good people, to rehearse, to record your music, and you know, it's a really great community, and I'm very impressed with what they do. I own a company in London that is doing well, so I've got here a cheque for £20,000, which I'd like you to give to the Warren.
Bloody hell. That's brilliant. So they don't know about this? This is a
They do
surprise.
not know. This is a
Oh,
surprise.
that's brilliant.
Now, what I want this cheque to be used for is to promote music at the Warren.
Do you know what? Everyone's going to be so chuffed with that,
Yeah,
including
that's
ourselves, because
that's
we're going to
gonna help a
benefit
lot
from
of-
it.
that's
So,
gonna help a
again,
lot.
thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you
Cheers,
very much.
honestly.
It
No,
feels
we
like we've seen
literally
that
thought you
programme,
was coming
Secret
down to
Millionaire.
say goodbye, and that's it.
What do you think this programme
That's
is?
why it felt a bit
This
like
is Secret Millionaire. This is it. Fuck, seriously? Freaking hell.
This is what it is, Secret Millionaire.
Bloody hell, mate, yeah. Thank you very much, Martin. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
A great privilege, fun to be with you.
Why not? Why not? Cheers.
This is not me for six.
It's not very often I see you bloody without out to say, Keith.
I
do you
know,
what
but
I mean?
it's just,
So-
I keep smiling because it's just... It's so amazing, I don't know what else to say.
It's amazing.
Hopefully
Thank you,
that,
guys,
that
honestly.
money can go to help, you know, everybody at the Warren and stuff, so that's brilliant.
Martin, what a guy.
I know.
What a guy.
It's going to hopefully inspire them, you know. And what I said to them is, you know, I don't want anything back from them, but I would like one day, maybe, if they're in a position to, for them to give something back themselves. And that's, you know, the ripple effect. I've learned that, you know, you can do something, and if you do it the right way, you can have a very big impact. Come to say goodbye to you.
You'll be sorry to leave our great city then.
I will. Anyway, it's my last day in Hull, and I just wanted to stop by and say goodbye to you. I think Children's University is really brilliant. It is tackling the problem at the root, you know, trying to get the kids hooked on learning, which is absolutely cool. And I think you're a great inspiration, and I've really been impressed the way you've managed to turn a personal tragedy into such a you know, an energizing force. I don't think I could do what you do. Now, what I've told you is true. I was expelled from school, I do work in IT, and I am passionate about education. But what I haven't said is that I own a company down in London, and it's doing well. So I would like you to accept a cheque for £20,000 for Children's University.
Wow. Yeah.
But you're really doing a fantastic job, and I really, you know, think it's admirable. I'm totally confident that you will spend it in the most effective way, and I don't want to tell you how to spend it. And all the strands in your course are brilliant, and you I'm sure will get the absolute biggest bang for the buck.
I have to say that this is one of the greatest moments I've had in my professional career. So thank you so much.
Come on.
Yeah,
come on.
great
We're
stuff.
new men.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Enough respect, Martin. Terrific.
Yes.
I feel as though I'm unstoppable. Today it's happened for me, and it's sort of like rejuvenated me and re-energised me, and sort of like I just can't wait to get stuck in now and put this money to good use.
I've met people and I've experienced things that I wouldn't possibly have met and experienced.
Time for you. Ready to come.
I'm still feeling the warmth of thanks and so on from John, from Jodie, from Keith, from the Warren. But I don't think giving money should be about making yourself feel better. It's not really why I give. I give because it's the right thing to do.
6 weeks later, Martin is back in Hull to see how everyone's getting on. True to his word, John has used Martin's £20,000 to reach out to more children and now works with more schools.
I gather you've just been on a trip to London. How many of you was it your first trip?
The money has meant John can pay for the children to go on trips further afield.
Down here you see just trees and houses, but in London you just like at London I gobsmacked like that.
But just this last week we've taken children out to the Yorkshire Wolds, where children are asking me questions, sir, what is a field? We've been taking them out to local companies to say, look, there's jobs out there for you to have. We've taken them up to the university. In fact, that money is just sort of like changing lives, believe me.
I get up, I feel down, so I go for a night on the town.
Keith and Jodie have been going from strength to strength with their music, and they've been playing many gigs in Hull.
Never been on the television, never had no tune or sound.
The Warren have used Martin's £20,000 to set up a record label and have already signed up their first acts.
We're actually on a record label now, do you know what I mean? It's helped us big time, and I think the fact that there's actually a record label here now, there's going to be a big buzz about it, there's going to be, it's like, bloody hell, I could get signed to that. I think it just gives everyone a bit more hope.
And Jodie's already giving something back.
I got a phone call the other day from a woman called Lisa who works here, and she asked if I wanted to teach guitar, like guitar tuition, so I'm going to go for it.
So shine, shine, shine on me now.
When we started out, one of the things I was looking for was a ripple effect, and Jodie going off and teaching other kids is exactly the sort of ripple effect, which is going to help those people he's teaching, but it also helped build him up so that he is better able to deal with life as he goes forwards.
Show the light within my palm. The callous past is set in stone. The dreaded curse is now held behind for you to find.